Today I'd like to have a chat to you about regulation. Now, regulation is your ability to manage your emotional state. And regulation is something that we learn as children from our parents. So we learn this by watching how they responded to when things were stressful. And you might just use this as a simple reflection. How did my parents respond to stress? The other thing that influences regulation is the attachments that we had with our parents. So when we're babies and when we're infants, we don't have the ability to self-regulate. We can't calm down our own nervous system. We are dependent completely on our parents and early caregivers to co-regulate our nervous system. And so you might think back of a time when you were scared, or you could imagine a child with a very small child that, say, was scared by a dog. They would run to their parents and they're literally depending on the parent to calm their nerves. And so this is how our nervous system develops this skill of regulation. So the wonderful thing is that despite what we saw our parents do and despite what these attachment patterns are, we can actually relearn self-regulation. The nervous system is always got the ability to learn, and that's what we know from neuroplasticity, what the amazing science shows us. And so when we talk about neuroscience in terms of neuroplasticity, we want to relearn how to self-regulate. And it is just like you can attend to these emotions with the same kindness and care as a parent would to a child. And this has the amazing ability of changing how your nervous system responds. So a great analogy just to think about this is if you imagine that there was a grassy field and there was one really well-worn track to the town we're going to call chaos. So a stressful time hits, we're in that grassy field and there's this really well-worn down path that goes to that town. So it's been walked many, many times. Now, if that's the usual track that we take and we go to the town of chaos, that's what we're going to see happen again and again. And at the town of chaos, we could say there'd be anxiety, anger, and then this also has a flow-on effect to our overall health as well. So we might get insomnia, gastrointestinal issues where we have a lot of gut pain or gut issues. So if that has been the path that we've taken and we've worn that down really well, that's typically what's going to keep going on unless we learn something new. So when we learn new tools and new ways to self-regulate, we can forge a new path. And at first that path is not going to be there because the grass hasn't been worn down. But in time, and the more times that we walk down this path, we end up at the town calm. And at this town, we have the ability to sit with our emotions and all these sensations. And so we don't have these huge swings in our moods and our emotions. And we also can keep better judgment. And that is really a wonderful thing because we keep the sense of the big picture. And when we do that, we don't end up with as much conflict, as much drama and the chaos. And it doesn't have that effect on our physical health or also lead to things like anxiety and anger. So this is something that we can learn to do when we start using a daily practice. And people often ask, how long is this going to take? And it's a great question. But there's great research to show that neuroplasticity, these changes can take place in 6 weeks with formal daily practice. And you can start to create those new pathways that will give you freedom. It can open you up to new ways of responding and it gives you more choices. So if this is something you're interested in learning, you can find out more in my Vagus Nerve program, which is starting on April the 13th. I'll pop the details somewhere below. And if it's something that you want to do, then I'd love to have you join in. Thank you so much for watching.